There we go. She's live. I panic every time. Every time I'm like, is it gonna, because it did it so randomly, and
Yeah.
because it takes you off screen as well, you're just
Okay.
sat there for 30 seconds. You're like, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
So hello everybody. We are back with another Ali Hazelwood for our Bunsen Burner book club. I am joined by the wonderful Victoria from What Victoria Read, and this is Victoria's return to streaming as of 2026.
It
So I
is.
love that, and also this is the first time you visited my channel, so that's
It
nice too.
is. Yeah, it is. And I don't know that I don't know that I did a live last year, so it's been a while.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. We'll be really nice to you anyway. So we'll start with the non-spoilers.
Mm.
And then I'll put a little banner so people can catch up later. Because some people, maybe normally, if people are doing live shows, have not actually read the book by the time the live show swings around. So I can come back to it later. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, and welcome. What did you think? Overall thoughts, what did you rate it?
I gave it a 3.5.
Okay.
Which is my first and only so far, Ali Hazelwood. So when you asked me, did you want to read one? I was like, sure, because I do read romance, but I've not read one of these. So I was like, sure, this seems like a good opportunity to do it. So yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars. Because I'm a giant nerd, I was making notes on my phone as I was reading.
Love that.
So I just said, yeah, it was enjoyable and easy read, but I'm not sure it's one that's going to stay with me particularly. I think some
that's
of the
really interesting. No, that's really interesting.
we just didn't quite go into enough. I
Mm-hmm.
thought I did enjoy it. I would read more from her, but yeah, it was 3.5. So yeah.
Okay, I'm actually I'm actually a little pleased because I have read other Ali Hazewoods even before starting this readathon.
Yeah.
And this was not my favorite at all.
Okay.
And this is not where I would recommend people start in case they were put off, because I also only gave this 3 stars.
Okay.
And I think that is the lowest rated an Ali Hazelwood has ever received from me.
Yeah.
And there are like big brushstroke reasons, like just generically that never works for me. So it's a shame that it's in this. But then also, like you said, there's things that just aren't got into deep enough.
Yeah.
So I actually can't wait, because sometimes I rock up and I'm like, yeah, didn't love it. And the other person is like, oh, but I did. And I'm like, oh, now I've got to tell you all these reasons, because I'm one of those people, I have to justify my opinion. So I have to tell you, here's the reasons why. I don't just hate, non-discriminately. I have very specific reasons. So I'm really, really interested when we get into the more spoilery discussion of what it is. Can you give like a broad stroke? Was it like characters, plot, like something particular?
I think it was characters. I am very character led reading, and without giving spoilery stuff yet, like there were some aspects of the characters that we were not shown. We were just told about. We were told things had happened, but we weren't shown them. So I didn't have that same emotional connection with them that I would have or would want to have. Because I think when we were talking about doing this, and you very kindly gave me kind of a choice of which ones, I think I picked this one because it was just the latest one that she had out. So I was like, well, we'll start with that one because she's established as a writer and all that sort of stuff. So that's why I picked this one. I would go back and read others, but yeah, I think it was just kind of, it just felt a little bit, some of it felt a little bit vague.
Yeah, vague. And I'd go so far, because I'm a terrible person, I'd go so far as to say messy. Because I don't think that, like, so her most recent ones, I think Check and Mate is pretty recent. Deep End, you've got Problematic Summer Romance, like those are the ones that have come out like really recently. I think this is only her third.
How was it?
Because on the back you've got Love Hypothesis, which was her first, Love on the Brain, and then you've got Love to Loathe You, which was her collection of short stories. I think this was only her third. And the reason it really gave third book is it felt like at this point she was allowed to just do whatever. And like every now, like you said, like every now and then she says something and then isn't expected to back that up at all. And I'm like, no, hilariously, for women in STEM, I need evidence. I need the full step-by-step analysis, please. So I think that's fair. I think I'm going to move on to then the spoiler discussion, because there are certain elements that I think I don't want to risk not talking about that properly. So there are certain elements of autonomy the character isn't given, and that for me is a massive issue, because like you said, when it comes to like characters, I'm also very character driven. I love a plot. I love a plot. And I really like books that have zero plot whatsoever if I'm in deep enough with characters. Like, I do not mind. I'm very much into like gothic novels where like we've just been in this room and nothing has happened, but it's been spooky. But I found there are certain things that the characters do, and specifically Jack, the love interest, does.
Yeah.
Where he just takes her autonomy and bails.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be chill with that.
Yeah.
And there is one specific moment, and I would love to know your thoughts on this. There is one specific moment where they are going to have sex, and he decides no, and then tells her the reasons why she shouldn't be having sex. And I went, oh, I didn't know E.L. James had written this. Like, genuinely, my brain went, oh, he's going to get a contract out any second, because apparently that's where we are right now.
It's really funny, because I was writing notes in my phone, and that's literally pretty much what I wrote down. I'd said Jack's thought process is sound when it comes to the intimate scene, but it's super patronizing for him to make that decision for both of them. It just really irritated me. I was just like, there's two parties here, both of them get a vote. Like, there should be a discussion, not I have already decided before we've even talked about it that this isn't what's not going to happen. It was, it didn't, that did annoy me. And I did like him quite a lot up to that point. And then I was a bit like, oh no.
Yeah. See, the thing is, that was like the red flag that, I don't know how to continue this analogy, so I'm going to mix my metaphors. It was the red flag that removed the rose-tinted glasses. Because then I was like looking in hindsight and being like, oh, well, if he's controlling this situation, what other situations is he controlling? And obviously we then find out pretty rapid that he knew she was never going to get the job. Like, he knew that certain things were going to happen the way they did, that he's controlled certain elements and tried to protect her from certain things. And I'm like, he's having a go at her. Like, his whole shtick is stop being a people pleaser and just be yourself, but equally under these set parameters that I've made up and controlled. And I'm like,
it doesn't
balance. It doesn't make sense. And I think the really interesting thing is there's a conversation between the main character and her flatmate where she's like, I can't believe he lied to me. And her flatmate's like, crazy, because you'd never do that. And I'm like, no. These are different. This is very different. There is one thing tailoring your personality to suit the situation you're in, which if you're a fake girlfriend has got to be like 80% of the job, right? Like, fair. Versus straight up controlling a narrative, like not telling you, like, because he's like, I couldn't tell you weren't going to get the job. No, you just hinted it and made her feel bad about herself at every opportunity.
And he definitely could have told her as well. Like, he could have.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm sorry, we've already broken whatever. Like,
we're already like way over the line. You could definitely have casually dropped into the conversation, you're not going to get the job.
Oh yeah, by the way, they've actually already decided this is just, because the thing is also, he acted like it was like this super secret thing. Like, that's not how jobs work. Like,
no, because I'm not I've never been an academic, so I don't really know much about how that world works. And I think partly for me, that's why it felt a bit distant, because it didn't feel very like explained as much as I would need it to be, really. So it kind of felt like a world that, I'm not part of, so I needed a bit more world building almost in it to be comfortable in it. But yeah, I feel like he definitely could have just said,
you could have told her. Step one, be honest and upfront.
Because he could also have gone with, you're not going to get this job, but actually there's this other job that's going to come up that's actually better for you, and just saved a whole load of hassle.
And I feel like the main conflict, and I hate a miscommunication trope, don't get me wrong, but I will take a miscommunication trope over just not communicating, because he also just doesn't tell her, like, he knows who her supervisor is. And the whole time he's like shady around the supervisor, and the supervisor hates him and blah, 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 blah. And like, she starts to see that this guy's like a good guy. And it obviously isn't as terrible as her supervisor has painted her, but fully in the toxic relationship with her supervisor where she thinks this is the man who's made my career.
Yeah.
At no point does he say, oh yeah, that guy and the guy that ruined my mother's life, same person.
Yeah.
Like, never has that conversation. Lets her find that out for herself.
Yeah.
Like, and also, George doesn't tell her. Olive doesn't tell her. Like, no one has that conversation with her.
No one mentions it. It's really weird. I don't know if it almost felt like a plot hole, but I was a bit like, it's one of those things I was like, I think the other thing for me as well, which I wrote down about this, is because she obviously changes herself to fit what each person needs. I felt like we didn't ever really get a grip on who she actually was. And I know a lot of the point of the story is like her kind of working that out, but it didn't really feel like we ever quite got there.
No.
Which again is why I just couldn't connect, and then I can't give a higher rating because I kind of finish it. I'm like, that was fine. Like,
yeah. I was like, don't get me wrong, I didn't come out being like, well, that was a waste of my time, because I still enjoyed it. But there were too many moments where I was like, and the suspension that was holding my disbelief has crumbled, because I'm now thinking about it, and I'm having to like fill in those gaps, because my brain will absolutely, and it's why I'm better off with mysteries and thrillers than I am with romances anyway, because my brain will automatically fill in those gaps. So when, for example, she acts all like put out that someone else has got the job, and then he's like, you were never going to get the job, and it was just for her, and blah blah blah, and she has that like whole temper tantrum. I was like, that happens though, because you have to, I don't know if it's the case for every industry, but for most jobs, you have to publicly put out that there is a job available for something. Even if you're going to hire internally. So like, if we wanted a head of department for English, for example, we have to put that on the website so that other people can apply, even if we know that actually the current second in department is going to walk that interview and step into that role, because that you legally have to do that. So for her to be like, oh, I can't believe you wasted my time. No, people do that every day, like every day. And in academia, probably more so. So I was like, the world building is almost falling to the wayside, because now I'm putting in my own perspective, my own gaps kind of thing. And I think when it came to her personality, I think you're almost supposed to. I think it's supposed to be that she is this like everyman that you can kind of just, of course she's fitting into every role, because actually she's you, and you can just kind of like, whoever it is that's reading, no matter what their personality type is, can relate to trying to make everybody around them like them. But we do know two things about her. We know she likes cheese and she likes Twilight, and that's it. That's all you get.
And I think, the people pleaser thing is, I think a lot of us would identify with, and especially because she's not the oldest daughter, but she acts like it. Her family dynamic was just so messed up. A lot of us can relate with that. I definitely would relate with that, but it's I think like I've already said, it was kind of making it difficult to actually work out who she was as like herself. Because we're only getting these like reflections of other people. I also would have liked to have seen some more of her fake girlfriend dates, because I think that would be entertaining. Like seeing her out with other clients and stuff would have been quite funny. And I know we get a few like anecdotes and stuff, but I think it just would have been quite an interesting thing to have seen, rather than just hearing about it later.
I wanted to be shown more than just told about her chameleon-esque abilities. I wanted to kind of see how she adapts, and not just with her flatmate, and not just in I can agree with you, that was a great film that I absolutely hated. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to actually see her engage with difficult people, or people that are paying for a date because they can't engage in a different way, because I think that in itself would have been like really, really interesting. I loved the little snippets of emails of like how people talk to her, because I thought that was quite telling in how beige a person she was. And I actually I quite appreciated that. But then that was a complete juxtaposition to how she was in the classroom, where she's doing her interview and she's like, I've got this because I've been teaching for years and I'm going to tell a joke and get all of these guys on side and he's going to be so surprised at what an amazing teacher I am, even though I hate teaching. And as two teachers, we know it's never that simple. Like that was so, I literally was sat there and was like, if only I could have a single lesson where one little pun got everybody on side.
Yeah. I think the teaching thing was interesting because she hates it. Teaching is a job that you should only do if your heart's in it. She's obviously kind of forced into it because of her the guy that's looking after her career, her mentor, that's the word. So she's kind of been forced into it. But yeah, that did make me kind of laugh. Like the kids that we teach are not as old as the people that she's teaching. So maybe it is a bit different, but like I've never in the years I've been teaching managed to tell one joke and get a whole classroom of kids on side. Like
no, I have managed to tell a joke and I've had every single kid roll their eyes at me. Yeah, very different energy.
Or ask me some question that then immediately makes me feel ancient because they don't
know
what a tape recorder is or something, and it's just like oh good, okay. But yeah, the emails that her students send her I really liked that we had them because they were quite funny and they kind of give you a little bit of that glimpse into what some aspects of teaching can be like, because you know you're a teacher, you're a doctor, you're a psychiatrist, you are their PA, all that sort of stuff. That was quite entertaining. I also liked the little scene where the girl came up to her in the classroom and was like, oh, can you look at this mole? And she was like, not that kind of doctor. Yeah. That was because kids, students do that. They just kind of see you as the teacher and then will just ask you all sorts of random stuff that's nothing to do with your job description. So I did enjoy that. But yeah.
I think that's why I found it so almost jarring that she didn't like I think it would have made more sense to me if it's like, oh, I resent that I have to keep teaching because there aren't any research places, because trust me, there are days where I'm like, I don't like that I'm a teacher because I would rather be a published author. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I get it. But I think the idea that she's like doing it day in, because I don't think you can really be that good a teacher if you're not engaged in it in some way. And I think when she described like ChatGPTing her lessons, I was like, wow, she really doesn't care. And it also like doesn't show how she
like, people are paying for to ChatGPT her lessons, and I'm like, not the best thing.
Which is a choice. Did you find that there were other characters that you would have been more interested in if the story had been about them? And if so, who?
Her roommate, the name of whom has now escaped me. I really liked her. I just thought she was fun. And she's sort of living this parallel life to, oh my gosh, what is the name? Oh, Elise, that's it, the main character. They're kind of living like parallel lives. But her roommate seems to be kind of a more authentic version of herself. So she was interesting. I think she did have a lot of kind of possibly quirks for quirk's sake. But I did really enjoy their interactions. And also Greg. I really liked it.
Greg was great. Like, I loved Greg. And also I would have loved to have seen like a sub scene almost of him being like, this is the worst retreat I've ever been on. Oh, hey Elsie, how's it going? Like, that would have been so funny. But the flatmate is CC, by the way. That's
CC, thank you. I really liked both of them. And Greg, I think one of my favorite parts of the book was when they picked him up after he'd been to the dentist, and I'm like, I was reading it, I was just like, oh my gosh, because like you see like YouTube clips and stuff of people that are, coming around from anesthetic and say weird things. And it was just, I just really liked, he was funny, but I also liked the kind of the interaction between him and Jack in that moment, and Jack being protective and kind of trying to help him keep his dignity as much as he could. So yeah, I would definitely read more about Greg.
Yeah, Greg was great. Yeah, no, I think I agree. I wanted more of the brotherly relationship between Jack and Greg. Like, the snippets that we get but he spends more time like talking to Elsie than he does Greg. And I'm like, he was so defensive of Greg and thinking that he was dating this girl who was just dating him for his money, I guess, or whatever it was. And then being like, oh no, he did once tell me that he thinks he might be aromantic, asexual, and I don't really understand what those terms mean, but I love him regardless. I was like, that's really cute.
Yeah.
That's really cute. I want more of that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting that also then led into Elsie having a conversation of being like, for a while, I thought maybe I was aromantic or asexual because I had no interest in any of this. And now you've got me questioning, am I? Because I want to do that with you. And I'm like, that's cute. Where is more of that? I want more of those kind of conversations. Because in the last one that I read, Check and Mate, I feel like those two things, so the autonomy issue around sex and sexuality, were handled so much cleaner. And I don't know if it's because it's more YA new adult, whereas this is just adult, so it had to be. But the idea that, like, because I feel like the way he was like, we're not having sex, we're not doing this, blah blah blah, I was like, oh, is he also going to be a virgin? Because I feel like that's where this is going. And then when he was like, no, it is because I don't trust you to handle your own stuff, I was like, oh, that's less attractive to me somehow. Like, it was just that kind of thing. So I think having some scenes of him with Greg, because he does let Greg have his autonomy. He doesn't rock up to Greg and say, like, dump her. No. He's just like, be careful, like, be wary, like, I don't think you should be with her, or like keep an eye on her, whatever. I can't remember. Maybe he does say dump her. I can't remember, to be honest. But like, he lets Greg like just get on with it and just like kind of trusts him in a way that he doesn't apparently trust anyone else. And one character, this is the opposite of what I asked. One character I could have done without. I didn't need them in the narrative at all. The book would make no difference if they were in it or not. Is that little internee student that he has that is there just to find him attractive and misread the relationship between her teacher and her. Could have done without that. Straight up, I've forgotten her name. I think it was Andrea. I don't know. When we met her in the corridor, she seemed fine. She seemed lovely. And then she's drunk at his house trying to make out with him. Ick. Immediate ick.
Yeah. It felt a little bit like, I was like, oh, is this where we're going to get like a third act? Is this what's going to kick that off? That whole like third act breakup or, whatever. And it felt quite an obvious route to go down. So yeah, I would agree. I didn't like her.
I did like the way Elsie handled it, of being like, it happens. Like, we spend all our time being amazing. Like, all of these kids look up to you. It's not really a surprise. But I feel like they were putting women against each other.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of having women fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Again, ick.
Yeah, it's not, we didn't need it. And it could have been, I would agree. I think also, though, kind of come back to characters that I really liked. I also really liked the grandmother. Again, I can't remember what her name is. But she was great. And she kind of reminded me of the grandma from the Brown Sisters trilogy.
Yeah, no, she is. Yeah.
Kind of Gigi vibe. And I really liked her. And I could have definitely read like more scenes of her and just like the family dynamic in that family. Because she made me laugh quite a few times, and I was like, she's not taking any.
She was brilliant. Like, and I really like that she was very like switched on. And just pretended. I love a little old lady character who leans into the little old lady, but is actually like really switched on. Like, I love that trope. I love that in real life. Like, I love those little old ladies that are like, could you help me? Like those little like absolute gremlin women. I'm so here for. And I really like the fact that she's like, I've had a terrible time. That I can't watch my show anymore. You'll have to entertain me. And he's like, I'll go change the CD then. Like, it's fine. But yeah, I liked that energy. And I like the fact that, but then I feel like at that point, I wanted her to put 2 and 2 together. I wanted her to be like, oh, my lecturer has mentioned so-and-so. Because I'll be honest, and I don't know about you, again, this is another thing that like lost it points for me with regards to the plot structure and character development. I think we all saw it was going to be the lecturer. Yeah. Like, we all knew it was going to be him. We all knew he was going to be the bad guy. He never called her the right name. He had
that, like, massive red flag. If you can't get the name right, like, what else is wrong? It's
and not only that, in front of other people as well. Like, he actively would, and I'm like, that is a manipulation tactic, gaslighting 101. Didn't like that. And I also just really didn't like the fact that he's like, no, there's no jobs. I've looked for you, no jobs. And then, like, the moment he's like, yeah, well, I suppose we could look at some of the jobs that you were offered. And she's like, what? Like, it's that kind of like slow turn around, mind blown moment. And I'm like, I was here 20 minutes ago. I've been waiting for the characters to catch up.
Because also, I was like, you're a full-grown woman. How have you not done your own job search? Like, I obviously, the mentor is there to kind of open doors for her and that sort of stuff. But how have you not done just like a cursory, like, Google what jobs are available, or had a casual conversation with somebody else just to, like, do your own due diligence and, like, double check stuff? Because that would have been the first thing I'd have been doing. So it's a bit like, if she was like 16, then okay. But she was like a full adult woman. And I was like,
But then I almost wanted her to have more of like a daddy issue moment with him, in that's why she relies on him so heavily emotionally. But we never see her interact with her dad at all. We only see her interact with her mom, and her mom is like a very specific Mrs. Bennet type neurotic of like, I need you, my nerves, fix it for me type energy. And she is this like put upon sibling who's just like, yeah, they're fighting again over some girl, like, what do you want me to do about it, kind of thing. Where's the dad? Like, what's going on there?
Well, he's like Mr. Bennet. He's hiding behind his newspaper
he's
somewhere.
Reading a book. Exactly. And I'm like, I feel like if it had been more like him putting pressure on her, or him ignoring her, like, even if it had just, if the rest of the family drama was stripped away, and it was just her, and she has like a weekly coffee with her dad, and he barely says 2 words to her every time, or he asks her question, because this is something that I've like witnessed firsthand with a friend of mine, is their dad will just ask them a list of questions and they'll answer it, and rather than like him like follow up like it's a part of a conversation, he then just asks the next question. So it's like, how's work, how's your house going, like, how's the flatmate, like, how's da-da-da-da, oh, so you're good then, and then they bounce. And I'm like, that wasn't a conversation. Because if my mom had asked me, how's it going, I'd have ranted for 20 minutes for a start. She'd have then ranted for 45. We'd have found some middle ground which either enraged us both or we could agree on. And then it would turn into a conversation about something completely different from where it started. Like, that would have made more sense, but that's not even happening because her dad's not even present in the book. And yet she's having daddy issues with her lecturer. I'm like, again, show us, give us something.
Yeah, and I think with the family as well, I found it really frustrating. There's no actual scene where she tells her mum off. Like, her mum is phoning for her to do the parenting that her mum is supposed to be doing, but also her siblings are also grown men. So if they end up in jail, then that's their problem.
Yeah.
Because they had a fight over a girl, which was entertaining to read. I quite liked. It was quite, I just found it quite amusing, this whole like Jeremy Kyle storyline that was kind of going on in the background. But I didn't feel like we had enough resolution where she told her mum no and like set that boundary. And I felt like by the end, her character was probably strong enough or becoming confident enough to do it. We just, like, that scene was missing. And so that, again, that was like one of those things when I was kind of trying to decide on what to rate it and all that sort of stuff. I was like, that just feels unfinished. And it was quite irritating. Like, every time she saw her mum's name flash up on her phone, like, I was getting like secondhand stress and anxiety, because I was like, oh, she's going to ask something completely unhinged again. And she was never really told off for it, or like,
no,
because
she hangs up, doesn't she? Like, the whole point is like she starts setting this boundary, and her mum's just like, I'm out, and hangs up. And like, again, she doesn't really have any reaction to that. She's just like, oh. I guess that's dealt with. And you're like, no. Like, no, absolutely not. Like, this needs to, like, we need to now enforce that boundary. If she's not going to listen to it, it has to be there.
And it's not easy to do. Like, I've had to set boundaries, not necessarily with my mum, but like with like people, and I am naturally a people pleaser, so I get the challenge of it. But you do have to be really firm and like set the boundary out loud. You can't kind of set it in your head and then hope that the other person will kind of do it, because that's not how it works. You have to have that uncomfortable conversation, and it didn't really feel like it happened, because I was like, come on, just oh no, put your foot down, point out that you're not doing good parenting for her, and also it's about 15 years too late, because they are grown.
Like, it's too late now. They're doing what they're doing. And the thing is, I feel like I'm worried now that I'm going to notice it in books that I've read of Ali Hazelwood's that I've loved. Is I don't think Ali Hazelwood enjoys confrontation, because her characters will work their way up to a confrontation and then it just doesn't happen. And rather than say the thing they should say or manage it in a way that I'm like, that's what I would say, or that's healthy or whatever, it either just kind of is put on pause, stopped, or it fizzles out. Because in this one, she gets really, like, she runs away from Jack. She's really upset at him. She, you know, like, sort of, like, tells him to F off, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, come to my house. And she's like, fine. And I'm like, what? That is actually crazy to me. Because I'm like, am I the problem? Because my toxic ass, if I'd run away, I don't run at the best of times. If I've run away from you and you followed me, you better have a damn good reason to do that, because I'm going to tear you a strip like you've never been stripped before. Get away from me. This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Come to your house? No. No.
And also, you know, don't tell me what to do. Like,
yeah, that would have been the first thing I said. Is, don't tell me what to do. Don't get in my face. And the fact that Cece's like, "Are you okay? George has taken me home." Like, what are these people doing? But then in like Check and Mate, last month's pick, it was very similar. She has this confrontation with her sisters, and again has very similar like family drama, and she works her way up and she says something terrible but true. Like, she calls them out on their stuff and she actually like says the thing, and then 2 pages later she's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. I'm like, no, you were doing so well.
No, because, you know, like I said, I'm kind of all for characters that are people pleasing. That people pleasers, but I do also, as a reader, kind of need that resolution and that like satisfaction of them standing up for themselves or setting a boundary. And I was just like, come on.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I was actually, to be fair, this is unrelated. I just think it's a really funny story. I was talking to people at work the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I really don't like confrontation. Like, I really struggle to have like these like hard conversations with people." And I was like, I love confrontation. I was like, I know this is going to be a really like hot take. I love confrontation. And they were like, what do you mean? Like, that's really intense and kind of scary. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, I like going into a conversation, knowing what I'm going to say, and then knowing what the outcome is. Like, whatever it is, like either we're never going to speak again or we resolved whatever it is that's between us. But I like going in and knowing that's going to happen. And they were like, oh, so you like resolution? And I was like, no, I like confrontation. And I was like, and I think Ali Hazelwood's characters are just nicer people than I am, because I would confront. I would be like, no, let's have it out now.
I don't think it's necessarily nicer. They're just like letting people walk over them, which is annoying. Like, I don't, like I said, it depends on the situation. Like, if I'm at work, I'm probably find it easier to tackle people about stuff. Not literally, we don't tackle each other.
Like rugby tackling them out the room. Yeah.
But you know, if I am in that kind of mode, it's easier. In my kind of personal life, I can do it and I will do it, but I find it stressful. But if I feel like someone's walking all over me, like her parents or her mum particularly does in this, then I find it quite easy to stand up for myself. But it takes practice, and it's it's definitely.
I think also it doesn't give us any, to use like Kelly's word there, spectrum of it, because she treats everyone with the same eggshells. So her mum's calling her with this really stressful, problematic, not her problem thing. And she acts the same way about that as she does with Cece being like, should we go watch another film you'll hate? Like, there's no like, can we not? Like, can we not today? Like, and I get the idea is that she's people pleasing for everybody, but like Cece is the person that she feels she can most be herself with.
Yeah.
And even then, there's these moments where she doesn't feel like she actually can,
Yeah.
or she feels bad for doing that. And I kind of wish that wasn't the case. Whether it's like, I get that she's like, no, I want to be able to like do this thing. Another thing that Ali Hazelwood has had in multiple books that I've noticed now is the weird little pets that they have an issue with the main character.
The
Because
hedgehog
in Check and Mate, there was
random.
okay, in this one it's an evil hedgehog, which is a
Yeah.
phrase I never thought I'd say. In Check and Mate, it was a stowaway guinea pig that her sisters had like co-opted.
Okay.
And I'm like, what trauma does Ali Hazelwood have around, or is it like the princess trope of our main characters aren't the princess because they're not the one with the pets,
Yeah.
but they're living with the neurotic princess who has the pets, has the princess behavior, and this is a every woman, every man type response to those shenanigans.
Yeah, that would work here. I think partly the issue with the kind of whole people pleasing thing and her working eggshells with everyone, including Cece. So if we kind of accept the idea that she's maybe on the spectrum, you would hope that you would have at least one person where she doesn't mask or doesn't need to mask as much. And Cece would be the obvious person to be that person because they're living together. It's not ever really explained why she's on eggshells with everyone in her life. I think we might have Frozen. Have we? Hello.
There we go.
Okay.
Sorry, my internet decided to have a straight up tantrum.
Sorry, I was
like completely reshift this.
What are we doing? Yeah, sorry, I don't know at what point. Oh.
There we go. She's
Oh. I think Hannah's internet's given up. So I don't know if you guys can still see me. Okay, I think
We're back.
Oh, hello.
Sorry.
All right.
My internet was like, nah. So I put it on our like reserve internet.
Yeah.
And then it decided that I had like this issue earlier. This is why I was like trying to share the link with you earlier. My firewall was just like, I don't trust StreamYard, so I'm just gonna block the internet. And not just like StreamYard, I mean like the entire internet. So
Okay.
I need to take it back to the tech guy because that is just wild. But it meant that I then couldn't log in to even be like, just give us a sec, we'll sort this out. I was like, I'm just gonna have to like via YouTube be like, hey guys. So anyway, what were we saying? You were saying something, and it was very interesting.
I was saying we're talking about her walking eggshells with everyone, and the possibility of her being on the spectrum. And if you kind of take that hypothesis, she would hopefully have at least one person in her life who she didn't have to fully mask with, and Cece would be the obvious person because they live together. So I think where I struggled a bit with the kind of characterization is we're never shown why she's walking eggshells around Cece. Like, it's not, it's not like she's said to Cece previously, those films are terrible, and Cece's not spoken to her for a month or something. Like, there's no real, it doesn't feel like there's an actual reason for her to be hiding the fact that she's a massive Twilight fangirl. So it was just sort of stuff like that. I was a bit like, this feels like it's a problem, but I don't understand why it's a problem.
Yeah, I don't know why it's a problem. And also, there was a lot of shade for Twilight fans. Yeah. I feel like it was very much like, this is my guilty pleasure. Now, I'm not. I can't remember. I think it was Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters was like, I don't like the phrase like guilty pleasure. That implies that something that makes you happy should be also something that makes you feel bad. And I disagree with that. I concur. I don't think anything, unless it hurts other people, should make you feel guilty. And hey, look, we all had a Twilight phase. And if we didn't have a Twilight phase, we were too busy having a Divergent phase. And that's fine.
Or both.
That's okay. Or both, And like, that's okay. Be who you are. I did really like her being like, oh, I'm going to introduce them to Jack. Jack's going to love them. And Jack being like, what is this?
Yeah.
Because imagine going into Twilight as a person in your late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, that would take some explaining. That, my husband's quite a lot older than me, and he would be completely confused by Twilight. He'd be like, what is this?
No.
So it was just a few bits like that. I was like, but why? Why are we on the eggshells? I'm not following. I did, however, love I was just looking at my notes, and I've written dill pickle lip balm isn't a thing that I can find, but it definitely should be. I
feel like every now and then there's like a little tidbit that you're like, I wish that existed. I wish that existed.
I remember literally putting the book down, picking my phone up and Googling to see if I could find it. I was like, is this a thing? Because I need that. And I can't find it, but it should be. I think the other thing that I liked about it was that we have, I sort of liked it, but again, it wasn't like fully explored, was the diabetes stuff. Like, I have a very basic understanding of diabetes and how it works. But she has a pump, and I was like, it gave us some of the information, but like not enough of it. And like, maybe we could have had a scene where she explained it to someone, or like explained it to Jack or to Cece or something, because I was like, again, it's this aspect of of the character, but we only get like half of it, half the information that we actually need. And I think it's definitely an interesting kind of rep to see representation. But again, we didn't quite get like all the way there.
Yeah, it was quite, I don't want to be like say that it was superficial, but I feel like there was a lot that was kind of like, I've done this as a researcher, not as someone who's experienced it. And actually maybe then there needed to be more research, that there could have been. And I also thought it was really interesting because she talks about how like her previous partner thought it was disgusting, whereas Jack's like, this is just a part of you kind of thing. And like, I don't know what I'd find weirder. Like, if I had this thing attached to me and my partner was like, it's beautiful, I don't know how I'd feel about that. But again, Jack is not my guy. Like, physically, I feel like he's described as like meant to be like, he's built like a fridge. All right, already my type. But I feel like emotionally, we're very different people. And I just found like the way he reacted to stuff really interesting, but it felt like he was only reacting that way because it was the antithesis of how Elsie was expecting him to act. Every time Elsie made an assumption about him, he did the exact opposite. And it made him feel like a character and not an authentic representation of a human being. And I feel like the diabetes thing was really interesting, and I love seeing like you said, like a different kind of rep. It wasn't neurodivergence, it's a physical thing that, you know, every time she talks to her boss about like, oh, I need something with healthcare, he's like, nah, healthcare, schmelfcare. And she's like, no, genuinely, like, because there must be like, that must be such a majority of people who require that don't get that support in the US. And probably even over here in the UK. Like I've seen the dentist for the first time in 15 years this week. Like that is just, thank you. It was an effort, but I got there. But and do you know what I mean? Like we don't have access to stuff in the way that we should because like cost of living and stuff. And this is written however many years ago, like 5 years ago. And it's really interesting that there is that diabetic rep, but I wanted to see, like you said, I wanted to see a bit more. I wanted to see how do her family, like, because her mom makes her feel bad about it. Like she treats it like a punishment. Now I'm currently writing a supernatural thriller horror type thing. The main character is deaf. And the main feedback that I've gotten is you cannot make your character deaf without knowing anything about what being deaf is like. But also if you're only going to say, and she's only deaf because it's a punishment, because those are the things when it comes to rep that are going to be the most damaging. Fair, valid criticism. I feel like this character only views her diabetes as a punishment, as something that has to be apologized for. And the fact that she has to bend over backwards for her family because they put up with all of these things that she has to do, as opposed to being like, yeah, that's just part of my life, like managing this is my life. I found really, because like then talk about it more, like acknowledge it more, like go and do something that then helps towards, I don't know, it was just very strange. And it just felt a bit, it did feel a bit superficial. I felt like there was a lot more that could have been delved into that wasn't.
But I think this is why I ended up at 3.5 stars, because I enjoyed it. I read it really fast. It was entertaining. Like a lot of the side characters made me laugh, like the grandmother and Greg when he's been to the dentist, all that sort of stuff. And it was entertaining. But then it couldn't really go any further than that because we just don't get enough. There's just not enough detail to it. It's not, you know, they're not kind of fleshed out all that well. I think the other thing, and obviously this is my first Ali Hazelwood, that kind of surprised me a bit is I didn't think it was that spicy. Like there wasn't that much. There were like, I think 3 scenes in the whole book, which were like open door, you know, scenes. But I was kind of, you know, expecting it to be, I just thought there'd be more of it from the way that people talk about Ali Hazelwood. So that was a little bit, I kind of got to the end of the book and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, is that, yeah, fair.
You know, maybe I just read too much cowboy romance and and BK Borison. So yeah, it was not as, there wasn't as much of the smut in it, you know, in it that I was expecting.
I think then that's fair, because like I remember I read The Love Hypothesis and it was like the first romance I'd read again in like 5-10 years. This came out in 2023, so it's only 3 years old. It's not old by any stretch. But I feel like the romance market in that time has very much shifted from steam to spice. And this is just entering steamy. Like I didn't find it as romantic, but then the thing is, I think it already pissed me off. Like by the time it actually got to them having sex, I was already like, all right, Mr. Grey. Like I was so like in my head, and I couldn't switch that part of my brain off. There was nothing in the narrative after that made me think, like he pins her arms up behind her and like presses her up against a window anyone could see, and I'm like, somebody has been working with you. I genuinely couldn't get that out of my brain. And it also didn't help that I read that scene whilst I was driving home from work. And I feel like I was just driving home being like, oh, okay then. Like I was like I just wasn't having it. I was just not in the mood, you know?
I think we were talking before we started about reading audiobooks coming home from school. And I, a couple of summers ago, was reading, I can't remember what it was. It might have been Natalia Hibbert. I was reading something that was like steamy and it was a hot day, so I had my windows down, started my audiobook in the car park, and then was immediately like, whoa, turn that off. So you do have to be careful, like make sure you're off site before you start listening to the audiobook. I thought the smart scenes were like written fine. I think the only thing that bugged me is that there was no safe sex, and I was like, not sure this is what we need to be writing in 2023. It's the first time they've been together, and they're both just like, oh yeah, no, it's fine.
I'm on the pill, it's chill. Like, okay,
no, that's but yeah, it wasn't as steamy as I was expecting. I did go into it expecting the he's a giant, she's like Tinkerbell thing, so because I've heard that so much. And one of the notes that I wrote down in capital letters was, "We get it, Jack is huge." But
the thing is, like, I find that when a romance author is like, no, but I don't think you understand, he's massive, they really feel the need to keep reminding you, because what else is he? Okay, he's a physicist, who cares, he's huge. He's like, do you know what I mean?
He's built like a tank, he's built like a fridge, I'm just like, I know, he's big, it's fine. And yeah, I kind of went in expecting that, because I've heard lots of people talk about the kind of cliches of Ali Hazelwood, and obviously every writer has their kind of hallmarks, I guess, and this is one of hers. But every time it happened, I was a bit like, yeah, okay. He's a giant, she's tiny. Okay, cool. And
I think this is it. It's like the 4 Ali Hazelwood books that I've read now, he's massive in every single one. And I'm waiting for it to be like, he's just a guy. Like, he's just not even a little guy, like, he's just a guy.
Because there was the scene with all of his friends, and I haven't read any others, but I think it was a cameo from Love Hypothesis. Is it Adam and Olive? Is that the pair in that? Yeah. And what really made me laugh is that the girls were talking about how tall the 2 men were and how like unusually tall they were, and I was like, that's because they're Ali Hazelwood. But I really liked that kind of little acknowledgement of it, I guess. It was just like,
yeah, that was cute. I really liked that, and I like the fact that, but you know what I found like really interesting? I didn't like Olive as much outside of her head as I liked her in her head. Like, I thought she was fine, but I was like, I really hope when I come back to reread this book that I'm not like, oh, maybe not. Because actually I really liked it. I found her the most relatable. And actually I cried at Love Hypothesis. There was like a scene where they get together, and I was like, that was so beautiful. And I cried. And I was like, I might be coming down with something, because I was like, why am I having so many emotions? So I think, again, I was a little like, when I saw them, I was like, yeah, I don't know if they would be the best people to hang out with. I don't know if I would want to know them in real life, because they sound kind of awful. But actually, I really liked the little visit, and I kind of wish there was more of that across Ali Hazelwood. Like, I wish it was almost like a Marvel cinematic universe where like they don't all know each other, but there's just like a little cameo of like individuals. That would make me really happy. I will keep an eye out for that. I don't think it's the case. I think it's exclusively in this one.
I always think it's nice when authors do it, because then it means it's kind of a little reward for the people that have read everything. When you get these little like Easter eggs and stuff, it's always a nice time.
I do think Jack is in. I feel like Jack is in Love Hypothesis as just like a pal and just like a really nice guy. Apparently there are lots of cameos. Okay, good. So I have that to look forward to. That's good to know. The more you read, the more you'll see. Isn't that just a motto for life, though?
Well,
the more you read, like, some are tiny. Not the guys, though.
No,
the
characters, because they're all massive.
They have to be huge.
Yeah. I think the only other thing, I'm just glancing through my notes, is with Jack, his privilege is definitely not dealt with anywhere near as much. Nope. He's wealthy. He's he's got this massive amount of privilege, and it's just kind of, he just like brushes it aside. Yeah. I'm like, no. Let's have a conversation.
Oh no, he does. He writes a journal about it. He does write that big old fancy thing and says, "Oh guys, I'm sorry, I'm so amazing." Like, that's it. That's all he does.
Yeah, I did. To be fair, I did quite like his letter. It felt a little bit like a move that a Jane Austen hero would pull. So I was like, yeah, okay. But I felt like, it just wasn't acknowledged enough. He's living in this huge apartment, and it's just like, dude.
Yeah.
He's actually in this like tiny flat with this mad housemate with a hedgehog, and like so that also could have, I think, been better, but I did enjoy it. I'm glad that you asked me to be part of this, and I've read one.
I'm glad you joined me.
Thank you. I will read more. Maybe I'll go back and read the Love Hypothesis and read the Olive one.
The Olive one. That's one of the ones I'm saving towards the end because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to rereading that. It should be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the reason I picked it up in the first place, well, actually, it was gifted to me by someone I don't talk to anymore anyway. It was gifted to me because they know that I really enjoy the Rey and Kylo Ren fanfic. They were like, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's some published fanfic. And I was like, please. And I think that's why I didn't mind so much that he's massive, she's feisty in that one, because I was like, these are my characters, these are my people. And then in this one, I was like, oh, he's just huge. And she's just feeble.
But I think it's fine the first time, but then when it's like the 12th book, it's like, come on.
Like, I need variety. But then I think this is the other thing, is you and I feel like, based on our, like, we've got quite eclectic reading styles. Like, we won't necessarily read, like, the same genre back to back. Like, we'll kind of dabble. We're dabblers. And I think there are other people that will be like, oh, no, I've read every Ali Hazelwood. Here's looking at you, Kelly. I've read every single one. I'd read them all again back to back. Give me half a chance, because there is something about, like, the writing style that, like you said, that is incredibly engaging.
Yeah,
and then you can kind of pick and choose which characters you like. So I'm really, really excited to see if you prefer it. If you read the Love Hypothesis and go, okay, do you know what? Fair. Like, there's things about this that I enjoy more. Or if you're like, Hannah, why are all these men huge? And why is that the only thing that's happening? Because I feel like you could read Love on the Brain, it'd be the same. He's also huge in that too.
But I kind of, you accept that going in. I think I kind of missed out on Ali Hazelwood, like, the first time around when everyone was reading her, because I wasn't really reading that much romance at the time. And I was a bit like, STEM is also not my kind of natural place. So I was like, oh, not really that interested, sort of passed me by. I'm now sort of becoming, or the last couple of years, I've become more of a romance reader, read a bit of everything, but, like, I've picked up a lot more romance. So I'm now sort of a bit more interested in it. And like I said, when you asked, I was like, yeah, cool, I've not read one. This will be a good chance to read it and then chat with people about it, which is always a good way to do it. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. I will give some more a go.
Good. I'm glad. That's good.
I'm fully prepared for, he is a giant, she is like,
and she's tiny. Do you know what it is? It's the bit that specifically that kills me about that is when, like, he takes his trousers off and she's like, and I don't know why I'm surprised, but he's enormous. And I'm like, we're not surprised. We're not even a little bit shocked. Like, what did you think was going to be in there? Like, you can't tell me his hands are huge. What did you expect?
I'm like, has she seen a man before? And yeah, she's a scientist. So I was just like, dude, come on. Like,
I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna fit. It'll fit. It always does. Excellent. Did you read the author's note?
Did I read the author's note? Was there an author's note in this one?
There is.
Oh yeah.
No, yes, I normally will skip an author's note because I'm like, I enjoyed that. I don't need, unless I'm like really going to like research into the author, I don't need to. But because the last 3 chapters I did as an audiobook because I was tidying my room at the same time. And I really liked the way Ali Hazel was like, hi, it's me. I'm going to read my author's note to you. This is by far the most academic one. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Because I feel like actually there are others where the research is more academic. And especially because I'm currently, like I was saying this to Victoria beforehand, I'm currently reading Babel as well. I don't know if I'm just a nerd, but there seems to be like an element of like academia and academic stuff in books at the moment that I'm really enjoying. But it feels almost like a hyperfixation as opposed to an actual job. Like the way that she's like interested in, oh my God, she loves her crystals. Like, get a girl a shiny rock. She wants to talk about her crystals. But I really enjoyed, like, in the author's note, it also discusses, not only is it the most academic thing, but then like these characters are based on real instances, conversations she's had with lecturers and things that have actually happened in the physics community or whatever. And I find that really interesting because I feel like these characters didn't feel like real people. Like they felt like caricatures of those people. But I did think it was really interesting knowing how Ali Hazelwood felt about her characters, because I feel like I am very much a person where like I don't usually separate artist and art. That's not really my vibe. And I find it really interesting when authors acknowledge an element of their writing. Did it make it more or less realistic for you, you know, and like this is based on real events-ish? Because for me, I was like, no.
Well, because academia is not a world I've been in. So like my brother's an academic, and I've heard him tell stories about shenanigans with like jobs and stuff and people publishing things or stealing ideas or all that sort of stuff. So I haven't experienced it firsthand. So for me, as a non-academic person, like academia person, I was a bit like, is this what it's like? Because it feels a little bit like an episode of a soap, but okay. And then to get to the author's note at the end, and she was like, yeah, this is based on real life. I was like, oh, okay.
Like, wow. Sure.
Yeah. So it was interesting. I don't know that it necessarily added or took away for me. I was just kind of like, that's just interesting to know. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it particularly kind of did anything, but I always read the author's note just because I'm nosy and I want to be like, yes, tell me more about it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I just think sometimes it's like, it's almost adding that little like almost like an epilogue sometimes. Like the author's note can feel a bit like that. And they just add that little tidbit. So that's fair. No, that's cool. I feel like we have thoroughly dissected this, and I've really enjoyed it because, like I said right at the start, I'm always really worried when I'm going to come in and be like, not my favorite. That I'm going to feel like I'm just like trampling all over something people love. I also appreciate that Kelly was like, you can't make me hate them. I love these guys.
That's fine.
So, and I know Kelly will not begrudge me not liking. The thing is, it's not like I didn't like it. It's just I think having such high expectations, having loved and given 5 stars to her books before. And I had this as well when I did the Silvermena Garcia read along that I did, where I was like, oh my God, The Beautiful Ones is the best book I've ever read. And Mexican Gothic is the best book I've ever read. Silver Nitrate's there, I guess. Like, and immediately like, oh, didn't enjoy that one. Like, it won't ever, like, this is not a book that will stop me reading Ali Hazelwood, which is good because I'm only 2 in to 12, I think. There's so many.
You've got a long way to go yet. But I think it's going to be like that with any writer. Like one of my favorite authors of all time is Margaret Atwood. I did a read through of her novels. It's probably about 5 years ago now, which is horrifying. And I had the same thing. There was like loads I absolutely love, and then there are just a couple that are there. And they're fine, and we're moving on.
And then we swiftly, exactly. And it's like, okay. And I think if it gets to the point where my romance shelf runs out of space, some sacrifices will need to be made.
Well, thank you for having me. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and it's nice getting to chat about it as well. That's always.
It's been brilliant to have you. You were a natural. Like I said, it was like riding a bike. Even with all the kerfuffle in the middle, we nailed this.
We did
such a good job. We are reading To Complay next, and Ali and Kelly will be joining me again, because even though I said I'm going to have different guests every single time, I can only keep those 2 away for so long when talking about Ali Hazelwood. And I'm really excited about this one because I have actively gone out of my way to read nothing about it. It is I think it is her newest release, in that it only came out recently. I'm so glad you're excited. And I know that it's about gamers. That is it. And the only reason I know that is because the cover is very gamified. So I'm very, very intrigued. But I really, really appreciate everyone for joining. I really appreciate Kelly for coming in and commenting as much as you did. And I really appreciate everyone's patience for my internet just giving up halfway through. I hope everyone has a really lovely evening, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.